We're going to start now here from UCLA ArtSci Center. I want to welcome everybody here who's joining us for celebration of the Earth Day and also the snake. So we go around the circle, and this time it's the snake, and we have amazing three people who carry this sign. We're going to present to us our work. And we have our group here, the ArtSci team, that also has some offerings for the snakes who are being featured. And I would like to pass it on to also to Siddharth Ramakrishnan, who is logging in from his laboratory in Seattle. Just to say that what we do first is we say thank you, because every culture under the sun starts with gratitude when they're looking at food. And this is sometimes forgotten with the fast food cultures, etc. But we want to say, first of all, thank you for all the guests. Thank you for all the students. Thank you for all the people watching who care about us as animals, inheriting and working with other animals on this earth, with laboratories saving us from many diseases, including the COVID, as pets, as therapy animals, and as food. This is not in any way judgmental about whether you eat food or not. So, I mean, animals or not, but we want to thank and eat either ourselves or offer the food. So we have three snakes, and we want to say thank you by starting. We usually do this kind of symbolically with blood that we all share. That would be this wine here. And then the fusilli, which is the DNA, which we also all share. And now you see Siddharth popping in with his snakes. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, everybody. I'm not able to share food because I'm in my lab, but I did bring our snake specimens, some rattlesnakes over here and other snakes over here. And I do want you all to think about the project of the Hox genes and how, even though we all look at as different shapes and sizes across the animal kingdom, underneath it all, the genes that help us make these different shapes are all kind of the same. So how deep within we have this inherent code that will define how we all look. And even though we might all look different, we are kind of the same. And as Victoria said, we want to express gratitude to all the different animals that are in our lives. And I do want to express gratitude to these snakes out here, even though they probably are much older than me. And they've been in this jar for many more years. Also, you all to think consciously about the reptilian brain inside you. That is the one that's responsible for a lot of your instincts and your actions that you're not really conscious about, that you kind of unconsciously perform every day. So with that, I want to turn it over to Victoria and then introduce our guests.
So I would like to introduce first Mariam, who's actually working a lot on the Hox Zodiac project. She's become kind of the lead designer in this, which is amazing. She comes to us from Tehran, and next month, when we celebrate the horse, which by the way is her sign, she will be doing the Hox Zodiac from Tehran, which we're so excited about, because the whole thing is about mixing of cultures and all of us showing gratitude to the animals that we are. So Mariam, what are you offering?
Yes, hello everyone, nice to meet you all. I'm Mariam Razi, and I'm a part of the Hox Zodiac team. As Victoria mentioned, today I have a special puffed Persian cookies for our snakes. It's a very easy cookie made of egg yolk, ground sugar, ground cardamom, and ground walnuts. I would like to offer these cookies to all the snakes out there, especially my mom, who is a snake, and I've learned a lot from her, and I've learned a lot from nature, and she's the most generous person I've ever had in my life, just like our Earth, our Mother Earth, and happy Earth Day.
Beautiful. And then Summer.
Hi, I'm Summer. I'm a rat, so I brought some cheese. I think I've met some of you before. I did another Hox event, so it's great to see you. And Siddharth, thanks for sharing the snakes. Those are amazing.
I'm Patricia. I'm a horse. I'm offering the empanadas.
There we go.
And also I offer the holy smoke from the Palo Santo. And just say that in the Andean culture, it's very important to snake. That means also the earth, the land. So, Hatun Serpiente, Sachamama, wrap your coils of life around us. Teach us to shed the past in the way you shed your skin, to walk softly on the earth. Teach us the beauty way.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm Santiago Torres. I'm an astrophysicist recently joined to the Art Science Center. I'm so grateful to be here and sharing all this moment with you, especially the Earth Day. For me, planets means a lot. So today I'm offering two things. I'm offering first my spirit to be here for the first time, and courtesy of Patricia, I'm also offering these arepas, which is like in behalf of the Latin American community, which is, by the way, one of my favorite dishes, the arepas. Very nice to be here. Thank you.
All right, so now that we've introduced ourselves, we also want to nod our head to Ivana, who is blocked from being here, but is here also virtually and Zooming this out or streaming it out. So thank you, Ivana, as always. And now we pass it on to our first star of the show, the snake star, Cece Hard.
Thank you so much for having me today. It's been really lovely to participate in Hawk Zodiac over this last year and to celebrate the tiger and the year of the tiger. I'm delighted to be here to represent the snake and to talk a little bit about Earth Day and recycling and the ways that I see the snake as the ultimate repurposer in the way that it sheds and renews itself. Do I have the ability to screen share? It looks like I do. So one of the ways that the snake really speaks to me is through the Ouroboros, the circular symbol of the snake that eats its own tail. And I made a short video this week that I'd like to show you right now that that explores the Ouroboros. So give me just the quickest moment while I screen share and expand this out.
Hey there, this is Cece Hart. I'm a Chinese horoscope snake. Let's talk about the snake inside all of us. The Ouroboros is an ancient circular symbol representing eternal renewal, the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. The name Ouroboros comes from the Greek words for tail, ouros, and eating, oros. So the literal translation is something more akin to the snake that eats itself. The Ouroboros came into Western iconography from Egypt and the Greek magical papyri, and is notable for its use by the alchemists. German organic chemist August Kekule discovered the structure of benzene in a dream where the Ouroboros appeared to him. Kekule recognized the circular structure of benzene embodied in the concept of the Ouroboros. Benzene is an aromatic hydrocarbon with a planar ring structure. Aromatic organic compounds have a ring structure, including the purines and the pyrimidines. These organic compounds are the base pairs of DNA. So basically, the beautiful double helix of DNA is actually a gazillion little rings comprised of adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine. If you look closely, you can envision the Ouroboros in each of these building blocks of DNA: adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine. I like to think there's a bit of the Ouroboros, a snake inside all of us. Please join me for...
All right, so I wanted to explore that particular concept of the Ouroboros and the way it's gotten paired onto science, especially because, you know, Hux Zodiac and its recognition of the Hux genes, I thought, you know, it'd be kind of interesting to be my own Ouroboros today. So one of the things that I did this week is I ordered up, I'm going to do a different share with you. I ordered up, I ordered up a box of rattlesnakes. And these are farm raised snakes. They're raised for their venom to make anti-venom. And then when they've served their purpose, they're butchered and sold for meat. So I ordered a box of rattlesnake bones, and I spent the last week making snake bone broth, which came out really quite lovely. Funny thing, a dear friend of mine is in this Zoom meeting, and I know that her undergraduate degree is home ec. So Tina, you really can make broth out of snakes. So I made snake bone broth with the idea that in some way I wanted to be the Ouroboros. And so this is going to be my first bite of snake. I took my snake broth and I made it into a traditional Chinese egg flour soup. It actually smells really good. And I'm going to tell you how it tastes. It's delicious. It tastes different. It certainly doesn't taste like anything I've ever tasted before. So I feel like there's something a little bit sacred here about becoming the snake that eats itself.
You're a true Ouroboros.
I'm an Ouroboros today. So I'm also a poet, and I'm really interested in the ways that we can create poetry from recycled materials. So I'm going to screen share again and show you a really lovely technique for looking into your recycling bin today and pulling out a poem that's hiding in there, just like the snake who hides underground, just like the snake who sheds its skin. We're going to shed words from printed material and find a poem hiding inside. And so give me a second to find my, you guys have the messiest desktop ever. I'm so embarrassed, but it's just the way I do things. It's how I roll. All right. So I call this technique the poetics of redaction. It's the concept of looking at a printed page and redacting out phrases or highlighting other phrases and pulling them to the surface, and in there seeing if we can find a poem. I learned this technique from a woman named Ma Shane-Win. She's a lovely poet, the poet laureate of El Cerrito. And if you're at all interested in her work, you can find her at her website. I think as artists, it's really important to acknowledge the people that we've learned from and the people who've helped guide our creative practice. And so I wanted to honor Ma today because she's quite wonderful. I also want to acknowledge that I live on land that belongs to the Ramaytush Ohlone. As we talk about the poetics of redaction, I acknowledge that my home is located on the unceded ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples, who are the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula. So redacted poems, I see them as a form of recycling. That poetry is waiting to be discovered in your junk mail, in your magazines and other printed material. That redacted poetry is a form of found art in which the printed words that might have a non-art function are modified into poetry. And in the repurposing of words, it kind of illuminates the relationship we have with the types of junk mail we receive. And for me, it highlights the very seductive language that these print materials use and that lure us to consumerism. So there's Ma, there's the Ohlone, there's the words I just said about finding poems in repurposed material. So this is my method. Basically, I gather mail order catalogs or other junk mail from my recycling bin. Sometimes just computer printouts that are no longer needed and might be used for scratch paper. And then I grab a highlighter, dark colored pens, and get to work. So these are some catalogs that I had at home today. And so my method is, so for example, this is the Bow Concept catalog. I have no idea why I got this catalog. I've never ordered from them before. It arrived at my home, and according to the Center for Development and Recycling at San Jose State, most Americans receive about 41 pounds of junk mail a year. And so on this Earth Day, it seems really important to recognize that. I've gotten to the point where I get very, very few catalogs these days, but I still get a few of them. And when I do, I try to make them into art. So what I do is I look at the pages and I read every word, and then I highlight the words and phrases that really jump out to me, the ones that feel meaningful or like they might have a story. And then I reconstruct those highlighted words into a poem. I personally don't add any additional words. I don't think it's a problem. And if one chooses to create a redacted poem that way, it's fine. I just don't add anything because I like them to be 100% recycled. And then I also put my poems back together. I take those redacted, I take those words left after I redact phrases, take the highlighted words, and I use them in the order that I found them, because I feel like that's part of how the poem is hidden. It's hidden in an order, and I feel like that's how I'm best going to find it. So this is the poem I got from the Bow Concept catalog. Unseen possibilities. Concept. Don't worry. All you need to know is that your idea of the perfect comes in all shapes and sizes and colors, black, white, golden beige, brown, all exquisitely cool. Be transformed. Choose different versions if that's what you want. The delicacy of details in skin, carved soft lines, angled postures form language. What if you are converted? You create the system. Dark romantic beauty or random clever thrill. You can play with all different colors. Turn into all of the beautiful things you love. Let's get to work pushing boundaries. So I also think it can be really fun to pull poetry from academic abstracts because I'm a nerd at heart. So this is an abstract I looked up. I was looking for abstracts on the effects of snake venom. And this one was really interesting to me because it's partially about rats and the effect of snake venom on rats. My partner, Timothy Crandall, is here with us today, and he is a rat. And I've been a very bad snake. Snake and rat sometimes a little bit at odds with each other. And so I found this abstract, and when I redacted it, this is what I got. The action of snake venom on heart. Venoms produce contracture of the heart in the rat. Venom, temporarily of the heart, produces loss of heart language. And so I hope that this will inspire you to look at your recycling and find some printed material and do your own redactions and create some poetry out of what most people would perceive as garbage. I think it's a wonderful way of recycling the words that are already in this world. And I really appreciate the chance to talk with you today about poetics and redaction.
We continue on to our featured star snake that's coming to us from Vienna, I believe, yes? Lucy Strecker.
Yes, Vienna.
Welcome, Lucy. It's so wonderful the last time we saw each other in person was actually at the Angewandte Innovation Lab, when you were heading up this amazing symposium exhibition on microperformativity. And what I've always loved about your work is how you combine theater, performance, theory, embodiment, like a true gorgeous snake. Welcome.
It's so nice to hear. I'm very much enjoying to be part, in particular on the Earth Day, very meaningful, and to meet other snakes and other signs. And you again, Victoria. Yes, we met at the Angewandte Innovation Lab, where we actually in person had the possibility to celebrate the Hox Zodiac dinner. And it was, for me, a very special experience to somehow exhibit a table as kind of a living sculpture. So I remember the situation that we were all around the table, and then we additionally had audience listening to the stories, and it could have gone for a long time. And at some point, another performance artist was interrupting, yeah, storytelling can go on and on. What I brought today to the table is a Poetopharmakon. And I would like to share a little bit with you my work currently on what I'm trying to understand as Poetopharmaka. So there's something else that I'm bringing to the table. It's not what it looks like. It's actually, it's saccharose. So that's what you use for placebos. And the other thing that I brought is here. It's how you make actually these capsules, pills. And behind, you can also see a series of images. It's a new series that I'm trying to work on. And all of these pills contain language. And I'm very interested currently on the term pharmakon, and it goes back to very old Egyptian myth between Tammuz and Thoth. And Thoth was the inventor of written language, and Tammuz was the king in ancient Egypt. And he was very much questioning if the written language, so letters, if they're poison or remedy for memory. And thereby the whole idea of the pharmakon as being something very much in between and always dependent on the context, erased as a philosophical figure that continued with the discourse of Platon in Platon's Pharmacy, later with Derrida, always asking the question, what is poison and what is remedy? And I think when we go back also to all the ingredients that surround us, we can see that it's often the dose and the context that makes something poisonous or curing. So yeah, I brought to everyone one of my Poetopharmaka, and in this little pill, I write text into this saccharose, and often I use oppositions like inside, outside, body, soul, memory, and forgetting. And so within this, in this little Poetopharmakon, we have somehow dualities combined, and it's this is tea in a wine glass, and this was a duality. This was something I wanted to bring to you because I changed my mind. I also brought something of myself. I was planning to bring snails, because in Vienna there's a very old tradition. It started from medieval times, but I couldn't find any snails at all. It took me 2 hours, so I ran around Vienna to find at least deep frozen snails, because there have been these Viennese snails women from medieval times that were selling in huge, large baskets all around the market snails until the 19th century. And of course, it was also used during feast and they also sold it sweet. So in Vienna, it's a very traditional meal, salty and sweet, but I cannot offer it. So I went back to the idea of the shrimp. I very much like on this celebration and this dinner that there's always this cannibalistic aspect, is how much, you know, when I consume something, how much do I consume the other, how much do I consume myself. So this idea of on one hand bringing what the animal likes to eat, this is asparagus, is the outside, but then also as the snail eats itself, as you already said, Carolyn, it's also about in a way eating oneself.
We have another Ouroboros in our midst.
Yes. While I was preparing for our meeting today, I realized that I would love to do something like a short intervention. And if you're willing to stand up and shake, I would love to do this with you. It's actually related to this very well-known energy of the Kundalini. It's this the snake energy that in the spiritual culture of yoga at some point might arise. And I brought some music, and I feel very much like using a little moment to, the first step is that you just stand on your feet and very firmly on the floor, and you let your body shake loosely, and you feel how the shaking spreads from the feet to the pelvis and the whole body. And the shaking ranges from unrhythmic to chaotic to harmonious. It is as if you want to shake off all tensions and burdens and become a shaker. So we can start with this. I will share my screen and enter some music, and we can take about a few minutes just to shake. Is that okay, Victoria, or am I running out of time already?
Oh, no, you're not running out of time. We're loving it. Go. We're ready to take off LA stress.
I'm sharing my screen, and I found a starting music, and after the shaking we go to a little bit of dancing. You just let yourself think of this, and if you want to, we go into one more dancing together.
Slow down a little bit.
You hear it?
Yes.
Take a little walk to the edge of town and go across the tracks, where the viaduct looms like a bird of doom as it shifts and cracks, where secrets lie in the border fires and the humming wires. Yeah, man, you know you're never coming back. Past the square, past the bridge, past the mills, past the stacks. On a gathering storm comes a tall, handsome man in a dusty black coat with a red right hand. He'll wrap you in his arms, tell you that you've been a good boy. He'll rekindle all the dreams that took you a lifetime to destroy. He'll reach deep into the hole, heal your shrinking soul, but there won't be a single thing that you can do.
You got us sweating too.
A little bit, no?
Oh,
It was
wonderful.
great. It brought me so much joy. Just like, you know, it was great.
So let's see what Amir surprises us with, our third star snake. Hello, Amir.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Hi, such a pleasure being here. All right, so I will start by sharing my screen. All right, so hi, my name is Amir Baradar. I'm based in New York, Iranian Canadian. As an artist, I work with installation, particularly with utilizing XR and VR and AR as a new medium to create stories, to tell, to create narratives that are non-linear, basically, and that's what I do. And much more recently, after teaching at Columbia for many years, I've pulled the research out of Columbia, and we're creating a platform to democratize access to content creation in AR. As some of you may know, it's very expensive and it's very tech heavy to create AR content. So what we're trying to do is to democratize access and to make it easier for creative community to be able to partake in this kind of new venture that many people are talking about in terms of metaverse or XR or what you have. So that's what I do on the art side. But what I wanted to talk about today is snake. Obviously, the part of the snake that has always fascinated me is the shedding of the snake and the process of renewal, the cycle of life that we go through. I think snake has one of the most fabulous ways of doing that, in ways that are very unique, visually speaking. So as an artist, that always spoke to me, the idea of having the snake shedding and having a body that is no longer living. And as I was thinking about all that, today is my grandpa's memorial for the second year of his passing. And he was a poet and singer and writer in Iran. And I think much of my own practice was influenced by his love of art. So what I wanted to do today is to offer something we offer during memorials in Persian culture, which is called halva. It's made of, actually, I have a little video for you, so I'll let you see what it's made of. It's flour and sugar and saffron and cardamom and some other goodies. So we can have a look at this if you would like.
Look at that.
There you go. This is the dish I would like to offer. It's actually interesting because when somebody dies, there's always a process of food offering, and this is a sweet dish that's called halva. And so I felt it was very becoming befitting this occasion to offer food to all of you guys, to all the snakes and others, and as a way of remembering that we all, there's a cycle of life that begins with our birth and ends with our death, and there's something incredibly beautiful and touching in that whole entire process. So I wanted to share that. But that aside, so that was my food offering. That aside, I want to talk about snakes. I want to talk about. Oh, here you go. So I want to talk about Persian mythology around snakes. There's a very famous character in Iranian kind of national epics that's called Zahrak. Different meanings of it. It has it comes from Zoroastrian, the old kind of pagan um, um, uh, religion, if you want, of the Iranians of long time ago, and that somehow it means the one who owns or possesses 10 sins. And this story has it that Zahak becomes gets convinced by the devil that he should go ahead and kill the king prior to him. His name is Jamshid, so he should kill Jamshid. So he does so under the advice of the devil, if you want, and he cuts the body of his king into half. So he saws it into two, and after that, the demon kind of appears again as a really amazing chef. So he starts making really amazing food for him, and he says, the king says, "Oh my God, I'm amazed by the quality of the food. What can I do for you, you who has been feeding me for all this time?" And the demon kind of, the devil asks to kiss two sides of the shoulders, and right after that, the devil disappears, and there are two snakes that appear from the shoulders. And they try to cut the snakes, but they always come back. So there's no way of getting rid of the snakes. And then the devil appears again and says the only way you can appease the snakes is to feed them with human brain. So here you have then a king that becomes this despot whereby every day they have to prepare a meal, and it has to be made with the brain of two humans. In that process, there's some transgression that happens because there's a new chef that comes in, and instead of cooking two brains, cooks one brain per day and uses a sheep's brain. But nonetheless, there's always someone that's being imprisoned and killed for the pleasure of the king and his snakes, basically. And it takes a long time, 7 centuries, before a blacksmith. So let me actually show you. So there are different versions, of this Zahak that we see, the one with the sins, the 10 sins, if you want. And you have variations of this in a lot of kind of gaming and what you have as well, which is kind of interesting how they portray those. But what I'm very much interested in is Kaveh Ahangar, which is an ironsmith who decides with its ox ended with on a mace, basically, as you can see here, chooses to go against the Zahak and basically captures Zahak and is in the process of killing him. And there is an angel that appears and asks him not to kill Zahak and only to imprison him. So this is what you will see, is that then Zahak gets to be thrown into the jail, and he's not killed. Basically, he's spared from death penalty, which really brings me to a topic that's really dear to my heart, and that's death penalty, especially as you can see on the screen right now. There are many states that still carry the red ones, as you can see on the screen, that carry death penalty, and just there's also currently there's Melissa Lucio that's threatened for death penalty, and a lot of the stories that we hear around death penalty, not only there is disproportionate kind of representation of people of color and BIPOCs in that space. But we also know that in a lot of these cases, there were testimonials that were forced, and there's I guess I want to kind of bring it back to understanding that that in through that cycle of life, who are we to decide whether or not somebody should die? So in the spirit of Kaveh, who never killed even the despot and just imprisoned him, I would like to this offering and this kind of moment of Day of Earth to be about the living and those who are imprisoned for perhaps for the wrong reasons, and thinking about death penalty as something that maybe we should get rid of. So this is my little presentation for you guys.
Wow, Amir, that was pretty intense, as snakes tend to be, that we can see from the 3 stars of the show. It's really incredible. Actually, Summer had a question, if you knew.
Yeah, I had heard, and I can't remember, but it was shocking when I heard about how many of the death penalty convictions are actually wrong. Do you know anything about that?
If they are what?
Like wrongful convictions with death penalty sentencing?
I don't have a number, to be honest. But one thing for sure is that in a lot of cases, even though they know it's wrong, the process of appealing a death penalty is so convoluted. Makes it incredibly hard for resources to embark in that, and it becomes these minute kind of very technical ways of addressing it, and a lot of people don't have obviously the resources to do that. By that, a lot of people of color and BIPOC as well, and it becomes so. Even if the court knows, like there are stories of people whose DNA has shown even that they haven't committed the murder, but you would see that they would still go on with the death penalty because somehow it didn't fit in the legal process and procedures to kind of appeal the death penalty. So it's a kind of a really sad story to think about, especially nowadays, to think about that.
Can I chime in here? And this is just because I listen to my local public radio station, which is KALW, and they offer a program called Uncuffed that comes out of San Quentin prison. And they just had some death row statistics 2 nights ago when I was listening. There are about 2,500 people in the United States right now, men and women, who are on death row. And less than 200 people have been exonerated from death row since 1973. Those are the facts that I literally just heard. Don't know how accurate they are, but that's what I had.
One thing that's coming up, I'm teaching courses on neuroethics now. One thing that's coming up is when you ask people, are you of sound mind? It might actually pass a psych eval, but if you actually do a neuropsychology eval of if they have brain damage and things like that, they might not pass muster. And a lot of times these are not held up in, these kind of neuropsychiatric evals are not requested, and they're not admitted in courts. There's a beautiful dissent by Sonia Sotomayor, which was done to asking her to allow this person to appeal the death penalty, which was rejected by the Supreme Court. This person was committed heinous crimes, but his brain was pickled by Agent Orange. He had grown up on an agricultural farm with all kinds of pesticides. So even though he was declared of sound mind, if you look at his brain from a neuroscience perspective, you couldn't really say that he had any control over his actions. So yes, there are a lot of people wrongfully convicted, but there are also people who just are not responsible for their actions as well.
So we just really want to acknowledge, first of all, the 3 beautiful star snakes. It was just so incredible, the journey you took us on from eating snake to poetry to systems of poetry that are from our recycling, our trash. I think there's something so gorgeous there, to actually getting us off our butts and dancing and thinking about all your amazing work and performances, Lucy. And of course, Amir, you brought us down back to earth to some heavy issues, but connecting it also historically to mythology and stories. And really, it is all about stories. And we know, all of us know, that all animals, all sentient beings want to be happy. That's really the bottom line. And there's way too many of us suffering now all over the planet. Of course, the spotlight is on Ukraine, and we send our warmest and heliest wishes to all the sentient beings there. The suffering is just beyond, but there's other parts of the world that too long to even enumerate now that have been suffering, continues to suffer. And the plants and the animals and the food, I mean, the food is really going to be the biggest crisis right now. The soil that you mentioned, that's just been industrialized. So we really need to get away from the industrial way of thinking and to appreciate life. And it's so wonderful to meet everybody and do this against all odds, basically. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
LA, New York, Vienna, Seattle, San Francisco. Amazing. Thank you, all the snakes.